What's going on, sports fans, Giants fans, NFL fans? Welcome back to another episode of G Nation Inside Sports. I'm your host, Big Lou, and today I have a very special guest for you guys, and let's get right into it. All right.
Ain't no chatting, no liking, just action. All my just front like they tapping. You already know. Popping. Ain't no stopping me now, steady rocking. Watch them hate on me now, cause I'm locked in. Watch the hate on me now, cause I'm popping. I ain't stopping.
And the New York Giants are the Super Bowl champs.
What's going on? Adam Costa's in the building.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Man, okay. So I've been seeing a lot of things lately. As we all know, Saquon Barkley and the New York Giants did not reach terms by the deadline, so they can no longer negotiate until the end of the season. So now we're left with the option of play or sit out. Those are his options. And as the news has been flooding all day today, he scrubbed the Giants from his Twitter and his Instagram pages.
Ooh.
So, all the teeny boppers are going crazy about that because that's how the young people communicate nowadays. So, but with that being said, he did mention that he could use the leverage that he has of not playing to show what it would mean for the New York Giants as a life without Saquon moving forward. But a lot of people aren't talking about the fact that, in my opinion, and let me just put this in the context real quick. A lot of people who don't know Adam and I differ on whether we wanted Daniel Jones to get another year or another shot. When the new regime came in, he wanted them to clean house along with everybody else they fired. He wanted a new quarterback as well. I was one of the people that said, give him a year, build some people around him, and see what he can do with the line and some players. So I got a guy here who is definitely not a Daniel Jones fan.
Oh, great.
And, no. I'm not bringing that up as in a bad way. I'm just giving people perspective so they know what the conversation, because we agree on this point here. I believe that Daniel Jones was better when Saquon was in the lineup. I believe Daniel Jones knows that. And I believe that maybe Daniel Jones could have stepped in and said, hey, listen, if money is the issue, maybe you can take $4 or $5 million from me and give it to him to ensure that he's a member of this team, right? We've seen quarterbacks like Tom Brady do it. We've seen Eli Manning do it. We've seen numerous quarterbacks take pay cuts in certain areas or certain instances to ensure that one of their guys stay on the team. And I feel like Daniel Jones could have, or maybe perhaps should have, done something to that effect. Now, maybe he did and we didn't hear about it. I'm not trying to, berate the guy. I'm just giving my opinion of how I think some possible solutions could have came about. What do you think?
Well, I think the possible solution was you franchise Daniel Jones and you sign Saquon Barkley. That probably would have been the better solution. What I think about Daniel Jones giving back some money, I can't blame him for taking money, but what we heard throughout the media was that they were a package deal, right? Well, if you get one, you got to get the other one. You got to get the other one. You got to get, you get Saquon, you got to get Daniel, you got to get Saquon, right? Well, to me, I like Saquon Barkley. I think he's the best player on the team, right? So why shouldn't he be paid as such? Why do we have to, because if he was a linebacker, the Giants would be throwing Brinks truck at him, right? But he's
put a linebacker on IR, Jared Davis, so.
Right, but what I'm saying is, like, if he were a defensive star, we'd have no problems giving him money. If he were, a receiver, we wouldn't have problems giving him money. But he's the running back, so now we're supposed to put this guy who's done far more than anyone on this team. Whether you like Daniel Jones or not, he's not top 10 in his position. Okay, let's be real. Let's call a spade, right? So for him, I get it. You want to get some money, but Barkley is top 5, arguably top 3 at his position, right? So why wouldn't he want the money that he wants? And then why wouldn't the Giants want to pay him the money that he wants? I just, to me, I don't feel Barkley. A lot of people coming at Barkley, and I want to look at it in a different way. Maybe we should come at the Giants for this. And here are some things that I want to mention. One, the Giants are an organization that pays players. I mean, they paid Nate Solder a god-awful amount of money. They paid Olivier Vernon a god-awful amount of money. Janoris, all these people they've paid a ton of money to who
Kenny
have
Galladay.
Right. Kenny Galladay is one who have bombed with the team, This is a homegrown talent who you guys drafted number 2 overall.
Yeah.
And so now we're going to say 5 years later, after having 2 great seasons, I mean, the guy's had, 3,500 yards in 5 seasons. He had one injury. He had one knee injury. He had a bad season coming after the injury. Understandable. You're coming back from a major injury. I'm not going to fault you too much. You did the best you could. I get it. Mentally, you had to get over that hurdle. And then you had the fluke injury where he put his foot on a cowboy, and twisted his ankle and was out for a couple of weeks. Right?
Yeah, I remember that.
But when he's on the field, he's the most dynamic player on there.
And you have to account for him at all times.
Right. And he's also the best player on the team. So my thought process is, if I'm John Mara.
And he's more than a running back. Sorry to interrupt you, but he is more than a running back.
Precisely. He does more than a running back. So pay him as such. I don't care if you got $16 million a year. The guy's worth it. The guy's going to give you, when the guy's on the field, it gives you production. But we now want to blame him for injuries. Well, how come those injuries didn't come up when we were talking about Daniel Jones's contract? Because remember, he didn't finish. Every season he played prior to this season, he ended up injured somehow. I mean, the year before he was on IR.
So this is about Saquon Barkley.
No, I'm just saying, if you're going to pay the guys and you're going to give me, that's what I'm hearing. Saquon Barkley, he's injury history. But I'm like, there's a lot of guys that have injury history.
That's what they keep using against them as their main weapon. But let's not forget that, you're going to get injured when you're wearing the brunt of the damage 9 times out of 10 when you're in the huddle, when you're on the field. That's why the life expectancy of a running back is so short in the NFL, because of all the going up against 300 and something pound linemen, and big guys, linebackers gunning at you, torpedoing at you, shoulder pad first. That wears on you, and you're taught to keep your legs turning. So you're pulling your weight plus their body weight, trying to get extra yards. That tears your knees up. Okay, it causes soft tissue damage, all types of injuries, and so these guys put their body on the line. It's only right to want to be compensated for it, knowing that their window of opportunity is short. And it stinks that the NFL has been able to use the franchise tag the way that they have, to the detriment of the running back position. But at the end of the day, when the Giants pride themselves on being an organization who's loyal to their guys and this and that, they stuck Eli out and so do the same for Barkley.
Exactly.
That's all. This guy has been the face of the franchise throughout our losing seasons here, 5 seasons in a row. Finally we had a good season last year and won a playoff game, and he was a major contributing factor to that. So when it's time to pay the guys who helped carry you,
reward them.
Right thing. Yeah.
I mean, let's look at it twofold. First off, guys like LaDainian Tomlinson, okay? He's a Hall of Famer, okay? Curtis Martin, Jerome Bettis. Do I need to go down? Emmitt Smith, okay? So everybody wants to say the running back position is injured. Those guys lasted 10-plus years in the league, okay? So they were doing something right. And Barry Sanders played with one team. You know what I mean? Jerome Bettis played with a few teams, but ended up with Pittsburgh and still rocked out at 2005. They still needed him. What I'm getting at is don't just pigeonhole him as some back that's not good. This guy could end up being an all-time great, right? But we want to not give him money because we're projecting that he's going to be injured down the road. I mean, Emmitt Smith sat out 2 games against for the Cowboys. They got obliterated. Jerry Jones was like, take whatever money you want. I'll bring the Brinks truck up at you. And we hear, like you said, Lou, the Giants want to reward their guys. Well, reward this guy. He deserves that shit. I mean, come on. We want to sit here and nickel and dime. Yeah. Do we need Barkley? Someone's like, oh, yeah, we don't need Barkley. We have Eric Gray, who's done nothing. And we have, Gary Brightwell, who has like 2 carries. And Matt Berea, who's, a journeyman running back. Oh, we can replace Barkley.
They're not the heartbeat of the offense like he is, for one. Okay. Right. And what kills me is, people can say, oh, well, it's evolved into a passing league. Okay. The game is always evolving. And just like it's evolving into a passing league, defenses will figure out a way to shut that down and you'll have to evolve into figuring out how to run the ball. So you can't just do away with the running back position. It's a fundamental part of the game. Okay, you can't do without the running back. Okay, you got rid of the fullback and just went to halfback, and the game evolved that way. It will evolve back. Nothing new under the sun.
You're starting to see it.
Yeah, and so you don't pay this guy. He goes somewhere and wins a couple championships, maybe to your detriment, against you in the playoff game or something like that, and you're gonna be sitting there with pie on the face. That's just my opinion.
Well, the thing is that we want to
send to the rest of the team when you treat your star player like that.
Yeah, and Evan Ingram, he had a bad reputation here, right? Because of injuries and drop balls. We went off and we're like, we don't care about you anymore, Evan. Go do you. And what did he do? He went and he left New York, and he ended up playing well in Jacksonville and became a big part of that team. Now, the thing that interests me about this is just like, we're so worried about image and reputation. What the Giants to me is one of the prestige franchises. They can set the precedent. People follow the Giants. John Mara is one of the loudest voices in the room when it comes to negotiations and all that stuff, right? So why not be the loudest voice and say, hey, Saquon, man, here's the money. I'm going to pay you. I'm going to do whatever it takes to keep you here, because we talk about longevity. We talk about winning a championship. We talk about all these things. And even the guy said in a podcast that he said recently, he said, I want to be here. How many guys actually want to be here and don't say about the money? Like, yes, he wants to take a hometown discount, but at the same time, he values his efforts. He's like, yo, I can catch the ball in the backfield. I can, make plays. And last year, we all talked about, or a lot of people talked about, how the receiving corps sucked, right? Oh, it's the worst. I got janitors playing out there, blah, 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 right? Well, why didn't we give it to Saquon Barkley? If he's your best player, every week I came on and told people, well, why aren't we throwing the ball to Barkley out of the backfield or in a little zig route? If he's the best player on the team and you don't trust the receivers, and
77 catches.
Exactly. But
he had 77 catches.
So, but yes,
he was the main target. He was one of the main targets that Daniel Jones was throwing the ball to. So now you want to just label him as a running back? Oh, the running back market dictates this. Well, he played receiver for a major part of the year too.
Apparently, and I think my numbers are going to be skewed, but there was a rumor that he was like 29% of their offense in total.
He was 29% of the total offense. Yep,
yes,
a third of their offense.
Right, the scrimmage yardage. So this guy is a big. So let's say you take him away, right? Who are you distributing that to? If a defense now comes to play the Giants and Saquon Barkley, let's say, decides to not play, or God forbid is injured because he's hadn't do training camp or whatever the case may be, who are they going to come? They're going to say, all right, you don't have anybody we believe in. Paris Campbell hasn't really done much this year. Jalen Hyatt's a rookie, and then the rest of the guys are kind of average players, Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard, guys we've never heard of, Jeff Smith, so now we only have Darren Waller. So now teams are going to just do the same thing they do with Barkley. Say, okay, we're just going to cover Waller, and then we're going to release the hounds, because guess what? We don't have to worry about number 26 maybe gashing us on a little dump off. I know you said 77 catches. I'd like to go back and watch the film and see how many of those were actually where he's in the middle of the field and how many of those were dump offs. Because I know a lot last year, Daniel saved himself because they did the dump off, which I always said needed to happen in the offense. Sometimes you just need a dump off. Well, if he's got 77 catches, that means they're doing a lot of dump offs, right? So there
was a time in my life where I was doing a whole lot of jump offs.
But my point is, like, I feel like the Giants should set the precedent here and start the trend and say, yo, we're going to reward greatness. We're going to reward a player that's done more than just be a running back. We're going to be a player that's a face, like every endorsement deal, every Make-A-Wish thing, every, PSA at the games, or who are they? It's Barkley first, and he hasn't gotten in trouble. He hasn't had any off the field issues that we know of, right?
He's conducted himself with class, yeah.
And so we want to just sit here and act like great running backs have never existed. We don't want to pay running backs. We don't want to play stars. Oh, because Dominic Pacheco went off in the Super Bowl. Well, that's the Kansas City Chiefs, and they have a guy named Patrick Mahomes who is a Superman. So they don't need to have a running back, right? Buffalo Bills, same thing. Their quarterback does everything. He flips over guys. He's spinning around. He's running. They don't necessarily need a running back.
These are also good running backs that just happen to get drafted late in the draft. That doesn't mean that they're not good running backs.
Exactly.
You know,
Terrell Davis is a 6th round pick.
Right. So just because of where you were drafted doesn't determine the value of you as a player. And that, they try to use these skewed numbers in the defense of not coming to a deal with this guy, or in the defense of their stinginess.
Well, I think what you're trying to say is you can't compare the value to each other, because Dominic Pacheco is a 7th round pick. There's no way that he should be getting the money that Barkley would warrant at a 2nd round pick. When you think of a 2nd overall pick, not a second round pick.
No. What I'm saying by saying that is that just because he was drafted in the 7th round and Barkley was drafted 2nd overall doesn't take away from the fact that he's a good running back. Right. So it's not to say that, they won the Super Bowl with a guy like Pacheco. That doesn't mean he's a bum because he got drafted in the 7th round.
No. I mean,
he's still a good running back. So the comparison that when they try to say things like that to defend them being cheap and saying, the running back market dictates this because they won the Super Bowl with a 7th round back. So you're trying to say that he's a bum?
But how does every 7th round back have that capability? Like that's the thing that we're talking about.
Yeah,
like you make a great point. You make a great point. Like, so Dominic Pacheco, who's a good runner, right, and fell to a good situation, does that mean the next 7th round pick is going to be great? Like, the probability of those lower round draft picks goes down in percentage. The hit rate on them, right? Not every one of them is going to be good. You expect a 6th, 7th round pick to be on special teams, contribute on 3rd down, maybe kind of get in the game, not necessarily be a starter, but maybe eventually a starter, right? You don't have those high expectations. So the fact that a guy can come in and do that, you're just going to be like, well, we can just go down Walmart and go get a pair of pants and they'll be fine.
It's crazy. But hopefully the Giants can figure it out. It's looking like he's going to sit out, but that wouldn't be wise. It's a lot of money a week, $560,000 a week. Well,
he's pretty much covered,
Yeah, I'm not trying to miss that money. So I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna preserve myself and try to play as smart and healthy as I can, and try to ball out at the same time.
What if he shows up, doesn't play? What if he shows up and says,
my hamstring?
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you guys want to pay me. You don't want to pay me. I'm going to, let's say he dogs it. I mean, because this could be a tactic, right? Everyone's like, oh, well, he has to be there. So if he's there and he decides, you know what, coach, I'm here, but I'm not going to play.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to play for you, but I'll be here supporting the team because of my teammates. What are you going to do? Because now you're really hamstrung. The guy is there and doesn't want to play. You don't want to pay him. So, I mean, there is a tactic he could use if he wanted to. He could walk in there and say, listen, I love you guys. I'm here, and you can't find me my $550,000 because I'm technically in the building. So, I mean, like, there are other ways to play this, and I don't think they will. I think he'll be there September 11th. Some people say he's going to be there before camp ends. I think he's going to be there right as the last preseason game kicks off, and they make their cuts. I think that's when he'll come in and say, let's do this. But I mean, listen, if I've never seen it happen, but why not? Why can't you go into your boss and say, listen, I'm here just not to get fined. I want to get paid, because at the end of the day, he can't get any more money. And most likely you're probably going to franchise him next year. So why would he want to go through the same thing twice?
Right. Well, that's what he said in the interview. He said, if I do what I got to do this year, which I plan on doing, then they'll just franchise tag me next year and they'll end up playing with a running back for cheap for 7 years. That's exactly what he said, but hopefully he can play through the season and stay healthy, hit his numbers and impress, and show them why they should have paid him. It just sucks that these other guys took the deals that they took, like Miles Sanders, and not firing shots at him or nothing. It just didn't help the cause of the running back's play.
Well, let's talk about those two guys real quick, because the two guys that signed were Miles Sanders and Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard has no leg to stand on, no leverage. He needed to sign that contract. Right. He's like, I just became a starter from, behind Ezekiel, and I got injured last year. Yeah, I'm going to take the $10.1 million because,
of course, he had no leg up. Yeah, he had no leverage.
Miles Miles Sanders got outdone by his quarterback, and they know that they can run a running back by committee because the majority of their runnings are going to be RPOs and a lot of that gadget play. So they don't necessarily need a dynamic back like that. Don't get me wrong, he's a good player, and it will help out. But the Eagles' thought process is we got Kenneth Gainwell. You know, we got Boston Scott. We got a couple other guys here who can kind of function in the offense that we need them to do, and we're going to give a lot of our carries as well to Jalen Hurst going forward. And then you have, Josh Jacobs. This is the one that is mind-boggling to me because outside of Barkley, he's the best back in football, and that's not me. Those are the numbers. That he is number one in the league in rushing. And you would think the Raiders, who have Devontae Adams, who just signed Jimmy Garoppolo, would want another back like Josh Jacobs to kind of help them in the development of their team. So it's kind of
a rebuild, yeah.
And it's kind of interesting to see that. Another guy that I find interesting is Dalvin Cook. That guy was a beast in Minnesota, and here we are again. People are it's all over the league, and I'm like, somebody's got to stand up and pay the people what they deserve because we go through this all the time. Well, this guy got too much money, and this guy got too much money. Oh, he should pay for $10 million. But it's like, yeah, but when he actually performs, why not get rewarded?
And it's the only position in the NFL that's decreasing. The franchise tag is going down, going in the opposite direction.
Right. So what does it mean for a guy like Travis Etienne, right? He's with the Jaguars right now, and he's going to be up for contract in a couple of years. And what is he going to say? What are you going to do? Like, that guy plays all over the field. He's like the modern day Marshall Faulk. He's running, he's passing out here. He's catching the ball out of the backfield. He's running downhill. He's running outside. He's doing everything and helping his quarterback. He's essentially the second best player on your team. And what are the Jaguars going to do? If the Jaguars do anything, they'll probably pay him. And I just don't get it. Like, when are we going to stop this nonsense? I understand if the Giants, didn't want, Barkley was a malcontent, or he got banged up last year where he missed multiple games and all this stuff. Okay, fine. But this guy has done nothing but being exemplary throughout his entire time here. And I can't blame him for an injury. It was a freak injury, 2 freak injuries, and it's not like he's had any problems with his knees since. So, who are they going to rely on? Don't tell me Eric Gray, because I will laugh, because that guy's a rookie, a 5th-round pick. We're going to rely our season on a guy who's barely even been in the league.
Right.
And I know.
So what are the options for the running back, really? I mean, I was watching a video that Pat made where he was talking about, are the running backs colluding together to try to, take a stand? And what I said to that on the live that we did after I watched his video was their best case is to take it up with the Players Association, because if these billionaire owners find out, or if that was the case and they found out that they were colluding, they would try to do something to penalize them and punish them or squeeze them out, So the running backs need to come together and go to the Players Association and try to figure it out that way, and have some guaranteed money up front when they come out of college, because their shelf life is so short in the NFL, and they get banged up, their knees tore up, they're going to have aches and pains and walk funny for the rest of their life as they get older, so they need to be compensated for the contributions that they make with their bodies to the NFL.
And I think you're onto something here, but maybe we're looking at it wrong. Maybe they're not colluding, but maybe Barkley will get a lot of blowback from the running back.
Riling up the troops,
right?
Yeah.
Where he's the guy who's going to be the guy that gets them paid, right? No one's going to believe Derrick Henry, but we believe Saquon can do it. He's a good guy, blah, blah, blah. And maybe he becomes the pioneer to be like, okay, let's get paid, because the Giants could easily
sacrificial lamb.
Right. He could say, listen, guys, I have him. He has a lot of money in endorsement deals, so he's well off. He could sit out the season tomorrow, and someone would still sign him next year, and probably for a decent contract anyways. I mean, Odell Beckham Jr.
And he'd be healthier because he wouldn't be banged up.
Right. And Odell Beckham Jr. got injured, and then he comes back and gets $15 million. You don't think Barkley could net at least $10 million from a new team? Like, let's be real. Like, so for him, what he doesn't understand is he is in a position of power. Because if he doesn't play or he decides to do what I say and be there and just watch, because that would be even more of a smug move, but a better move where he just goes, "Hey man, I'm here. I'm not playing. They don't want to pay me, and I don't want to risk injury for no long-term commitment, right?" So, and of course there's going to be private conversations behind closed doors.
To the podium and be like, "Y'all got 3 minutes to look at me."
Exactly. Hey, how do you feel about the game, Saquon? Well, my Burberry bag almost hit the floor, so I'm a little disappointed.
Shout out to all my real Africans.
Yeah, Jihad Ward bumped into me and spilled Gatorade on my shoes, but other than that, you know what I mean? Like,
but
go ahead.
I didn't want to go real long with this because I got a lot of stuff to do, but please, guys, let them know your channel's name.
My channel is Adam Costas. I do the Hurry Up. It's on YouTube. You can find me on YouTube at thehurryup.com or find me with Mac the Giant Fan, Zion Zenith. We do premium takes, and our man Jeffy T, the Four Horsemen. We do premium takes every Sunday at 8:30. Rest in peace, Jeffy T. And then also coming this Wednesday, the start of the Real Deal NFC East Roundup with my man Mac the Giant Fan. We're going to go through everything NFC East from start to finish. That show is going to have a couple of players, not player representative, not really representative, but like an Eagle fan and a Washington fan. Come join us as we debate who the best team is in the NFC East.
A fan from each team in the NFC East.
Yes, sir.
Represented on that show.
Yes.
So, guys, go check them out. Go sub them up, man. They always got good content for you guys. Part of the Big Blue Crew Sports Network, and also the Hardcore Sports Network. They're a dual thing going on over there. But go check him out, man. I appreciate you coming on and giving your take, your opinion, your view. This is a guy who did have an internship at MetLife Stadium, not just some guy with weird opinions. The guy knows football.
Thank you.
So go check him out, go sub him up, man, and make sure you go watch Premium Takes and the NFC East Roundup with my boy Mac the Giants fan and what up, New York Giants fans? Y'all know how he do. Man, thank you guys for stopping by, man. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up button, man. Leave your comments, thoughts, opinions, and ideas in the comment section. I will reach out to you. And thank you guys for stopping by, man. As always, y'all know what it is.
Ain't no chatting, no liking, just action. All my just front like they hatching. You already know. Popping. Ain't no stopping me now, steady rocking. Watch them hate on me now, cause I'm locked in. Watch the hate on me now, cause I'm popping. I ain't stopping.